recording.
You're listening to eLearnChat, where talk is knowledge.
Hello and welcome to eLearnChat, our new podcast featuring prominent leaders, shakers and movers in the e-learning and training industry. Well, good morning, everyone, or good day wherever you are. I'm Rick Zanotti, and next to me, right over there, let's see, which way is she? She's that way, is Coline. We're actually almost in the same place. You can tell by our backgrounds. Hey, Coline, how you doing?
Hey, Rick.
How's everything going today?
It's going great. How are you?
I am good. Well, we've got a real special guest today. We've been trying to get her on. Well, actually, we've been trying to get anyone from Articulate on, but we got one of the best. We got Jeanette Brooks with us today. Hey, Jeanette, how are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you doing?
We're good. That's our chat room audience.
Wow, that was very dramatic. There's a lot of people out there.
They're a raucous bunch. Anyway, well, here we are. You know, you guys have always been one of the, I think, most exciting and community-based companies out there. If you ask anybody who has a good community in the e-learning marketplace, I don't think anybody would not say Articulate as probably the best. And I guess it's the trio, the dynamic trio of you, Dave Anderson, and Tom Coleman. Well, Tom's not dynamic; he's Tom, but he's great. I love Tom. But you guys have done just a wonderful job getting people in the community, people who are Articulate users, and frankly, I think all sorts of other users from every other authoring tool you could find because of all the advice you give.
Yeah, we do have a very dynamic community. We're really fortunate, to have a great group of really amazing users. It's really about the people that are in the community that make it so valuable. We've got so many experts from all different kinds of organizations who are so generous with the tips and advice that they share, and really into that collaborative experience of learning together. And we just feel very blessed that we have so many people that kind of share that same vision for helping other people kind of come on board the e-learning train and help them to get up to speed and to build really great courseware.
Yeah, and one of the fun things is, really, I think this is what's unique. Nobody has done as many examples as you have with Screener and just on YouTube or anywhere else. More often than not, I've heard from a lot of people, I had no idea how to really do that until I saw that tutorial that Jeanette did or that Dave did or that Tom did. And I think that goes a long way. Now, what made you guys really focus on the community? What sparked that?
That's a good question. Well, initially, several years ago, when the company was a little bit younger, we had community forums, that were pretty active, that were kind of support driven, right? So they were like places where people could go to, ask a question about a feature of the software or something like that. And that was very effective. But what started to happen was people would start to have discussions that were a little bit outside of that typical boundary of support conversation. So they started to have more, I guess you'd say, higher octane discussions about e-learning and what makes e-learning effective, and how to maybe get past some obstacles that people might experience, like if somebody was having trouble with collaborating with their SMEs, they would go to the community forums and start, getting some ideas from other people. So we really saw, things kind of blossom as more of those conversations started taking place, and this environment of sharing really just kind of evolved. And that also kind of carried over into the more pragmatic discussions where people were talking about features, or the how-to kind of steps for using a particular feature or something like that. We really saw a lot of collaboration with users helping each other. And of course, we were in there, we're in there all the time too, as well. Not only David and Tom and I, but also we've got a group of really amazing support engineers that are very dedicated to helping people with their questions, but it really turned into kind of a more collaborative environment than just the typical support forums. And we've got our users to thank for that. I mean, it's really about the people who are in the community that make it what it is.
Yeah, it's fun. And I agree, you do have good support people. We're Articulate users as well. I believe Coline also uses Articulate, and whenever we've had issues, somebody's always there, and that's a lot of fun, and really have gotten good response. Now, who started the community group? Was that Tom, or did you guys all get kind of hired around the same time?
Well, the forums had always existed, like I said, from way back, and then a lot of you know Tom Coleman. He's our VP of Community now. He's been in that role for several years now. But when he came on board, he started the Rapid eLearning blog, which a lot of you are familiar with. Right. It's really become kind of the cornerstone resource for many, many people who are in the Rapid eLearning field. And that was another source of a lot of growth when the blog launched, and a lot of people started to learn more about Rapid eLearning and what that means for their instructional design process. So a lot of the discussions that we started to see pop up in the forums would often be related to the things that Tom was sharing in his blog, and so it was just kind of a natural progression that the community became more robust. Another thing that contributed too was, of course, just the growth of the industry. We've seen so many more organizations that have migrated into e-learning as they've sought to cut their training costs and make their training more consistent, more cost effective. And so as that trend has increased, there's just been so many people who are new to the field, and they need a place, right, to jump in and to learn things and to share with other people and to get up to speed so that they can start really developing some powerful courseware. And so we kind of evolved, through a number of different sources. Screener, you mentioned, was a big one as well. Screeners are free web-based screencasting tool that we started using a couple of years ago. It started out as kind of a tool that we would use to share tips and tricks, and the support department would use it as well to share information with people, and also to help users to show us things. Like if somebody was having trouble with a process or a feature, they could use Screener to record what they were seeing, and that was very helpful. But the cool thing that happened was, because Screener is available to anybody, it's totally free. You don't have to install anything or download anything. We saw a lot of community people start to use it to share tips with each other, which was just so powerful. And it's been really fun to watch that evolution as well, because that's become a really really powerful tool to help people not only share information but also learn from each other. In fact, the other day I was in the forums, and it was kind of cool. That a product is going to be here to stay when people start using it as a verb. So I'm in this forum discussion, and somebody was sharing some advice with a person who had asked a question, and another person replied and said, "Oh, that's such a cool tip. You should Screener that." And I love that it's become so ubiquitous that it's kind of like Xerox. You should Xerox that, you should Screener that, so that everybody can benefit. And that's actually what happened. The person went off,
and we're all articulating.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just been kind of a neat thing to see, to see tools like that used in such a way that will benefit the whole community. It's pretty exciting.
That's good. Coline, how's the chat room going?
There's a few more folks that have joined. There's Dawn Mahoney, Tricia from Polycom, and I believe, I think that's it so far that have joined.
Any questions yet for Jeanette?
Well, I have a question for Jeanette, and I'm not sure who else would like to know this, but how did you become, you're the community manager, right? How did you become the community manager?
That's a good story. Well, in my previous job, I was a developer of training, and was actually an Articulate user. So I became exposed to the community as a community member. So it was kind of neat, especially as a new user of Articulate. Sometimes at conferences I like to tell the story because it, to me, it really kind of communicates the personality of our company and the community. So I'm a new user. I've got the software, just kind of trying to get up to speed super quick. Had a deliverable that I needed to crank out super fast, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table with my laptop, trying to muddle through. And I had a question about narration, I think, or I think it was about importing or recording narration or something like that. And so I thought, I wonder if this company has some funds or something, because I'm not probably going to be able to reach anybody in person, but maybe if I put something out on these forums. And I don't know about you, but some other experiences I've had with forums, not just work related, but just forums in general. Sometimes you go to a different forum and you put a question out there, and it might stay there for a long time before it gets an answer. So I wasn't totally convinced this was going to give me what I needed, but I thought, what the heck, I'm going to try it and then go to bed, and maybe in the morning there will be an answer. So I put a question out there and was getting ready to turn my laptop off for the night and go to bed. And as I was starting to shut down, I noticed, oh my gosh, I already have an answer to my question. And the cool thing was, it wasn't even a company person. It was another user, actually from another country, who had seen my question and knew the answer and shared it. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. And so I had my answer. I still went to bed. I didn't stay up. Still went to bed, and I took care of the narration issue in the morning. But then I noticed in the morning that not only did I have an answer from another user, but Gabe Anderson, who many of you might know if you're an Articulate user, had also replied to my thread. He works for Articulate, and then a couple other users had chimed in with a couple other ideas, and it was just so powerful because I had not, at that point, I was a new user, had not even purchased the product yet. I was just using the trial, just kind of fumbling my way through, seeing if this was going to work for the project that I had in mind, and it really said a lot to me that not only was the company there for me, but that the community was there, and that kind of personality has really carried through. It continues to be an enduring part of what the community is all about. So then through that experience, I started to become more more acquainted with the tools, became acquainted with Tom's Rapid eLearning blog, and the rest is kind of history. And now here I am.
So, I know that Tom and
Dave?
Did we lose her?
No,
did we lose
no,
Jeanette?
everybody's here.
Because I can't hear her.
She's not saying anything.
I'm listening very intently.
Okay, got it. So, you, Tom, and David, you're considered, celebrities in the e-learning arena. And I recently overheard someone say that you guys are friendly and you actually respond. I think that's, so amazing. And it's kind of like the story you just shared. Has that been the cornerstone in building a successful community at Articulate?
Yeah, I would say definitely. We, it's kind of funny to hear people say the word celebrity, because it doesn't, that's really not our goal at all. Our goal is really just to help people.
It's the capes. That does it all the time. Leotards and capes.
Many of us, Tom, David, I, and many other people at Articulate have been in the learning and development field, prior to being part of Articulate. And so, we know what that's like, where you have a deadline, or you have an obstacle that you need to get past, and you've got a certain tool set that you need to work with, and we want to be the community. We want the community to be part of that tool set, because it's so valuable, and not just the stuff that we share. It's really not about us, pontificating a bunch of information. It's really about that collaborative experience, and we just really want to make a space for people to share like that. And it's not really rocket science. It's funny because sometimes people are like, what did you do? What was the strategy, or what was the formula for making this so successful? And honestly, there really was no big master architecture here. We just really want to help other people, and we want to empower people, to help each other as well, and treat people the way we like to be treated. So,
yeah, you know what? But that's just basic, good common sense. It's giving, and you're giving, and you're getting back, and I think that's the key. It's that I've been reading a book called The Go-Giver. It's a great book, and it's all about sharing, giving, and yet through that you wind up getting really so much back. As much as you're giving, I think you're getting it back sometimes twofold, threefold, and it creates a good feeling out there, which is part of the fun.
For sure, yeah, and it's interesting because once in a while in a public space where people are helping each other, sometimes there is I don't know, like a flavor of doing it for personal gain or something like that. And one thing that we've noticed is that you just kind of got to go in without any expectations or without having a big agenda necessarily. But if you just kind of keep the goal to help each other and, to bring everybody along and give them what they need, then it kind of works. It's kind of like I was talking with this ASTD group last night in Orange County about community as well. And when we were talking about it, I mentioned that it's kind of like, when you're in grade school and you really like someone, but you can't make another person like you, right? Because if anything that you do or any words that you say or any actions you take are done out of like a selfish ambition, it's going to be so obvious, right? And they're not going to want to be your friend. And in a sense, the community is a lot like that too, where we we go in to give and to share, and not really expecting that anybody needs to return anything at all. But what happens is people want to reciprocate, and the beautiful thing about the community is that they reciprocate with each other. So it just becomes more powerful. The community gains momentum as people continue to share with each other. And many of these discussions in the forums, they just take on a life of their own, and they don't require our involvement. It's really just, we've just created a place for people to come in there and share information, and the users do the rest. They're just amazing people.
That's true. All you need is espresso, and we've got it completely covered. It's there. Actually, one of the fun things that I've always enjoyed, and sometimes I look at the things that Tom puts out there and I go, they let him get away with that? That's pretty cool. I mean, you guys have a lot of fun with some of this stuff. I have absolutely cracked up at some of the things Tom has done. My favorite is his minimalist learning. That was great. It was like a 1.5 minute piece of nothing going on. It was just hilarious. Now, and I've shown that to people in the office, and they go, I don't get it. And I'm just, which makes it even funnier.
It is funny, yeah. And I think that's kind of, that's kind of maybe our secret sauce, is that we really do love what we do. And we do have fun with what we are doing. And we're real people, we're not like some big facade that, sends out canned, emails when people have questions or whatever. It's, we have a lot of the same challenges and struggles that other people do as they're building courses. So, there's definitely what you might call a human element to our company, but we love that.
Yeah, and one of the things also that I've gotten out of it personally over the last couple of years is we've always used PowerPoint. We've always used a lot of other tools, but I never used PowerPoint that much in terms of graphics building. Mm-hmm. And it's real interesting. After watching a lot of your screeners and just looking at design and stuff, I find I go to PowerPoint probably 75%, if not 80% of the time now to build graphics versus going to Photoshop. Now, that's, for me, an enormous change. And it's fast. It's really quick to just build, especially corporate kind of graphics. Even buttons, really quick to build, whereas it would take a little bit longer in something like Photoshop or any of the other graphic tools. That's a change in the way we do stuff, and we can mock up things so quickly, which we never really bother doing in PowerPoint. So that I think, from my point of view, thank you, because it's a tool we've always used, never really thought of using it that way. So
yeah, it's really powerful, and a lot of people have that experience, I think, Rick, where you maybe come into a rapid e-learning space from a different discipline. Maybe you've done instructor-led training, or you've done other presentation kinds of work, but not necessarily courses. And it's cool because there's so much that you can do with the tools that you already have. And so a big part, I think, of the value of learning in a community is that you get to find out stuff that you maybe never knew was part of your tool set. So that's kind of cool. We had an example the other day where there was, in fact, maybe I should even share this. Let me just see if I can switch to screen share here, and I'll show you. We had a user who was looking for a way to build a button. Speaking of buttons, and I'll just go to...
And we're seeing your screen, so that's good.
So here's a conversation. This is really typical for the kinds of stuff that we see. Linda, who is, maybe some of you have seen her screencast before, she shares a lot of cool tips in the community. She had a question where she wanted to, kind of create an interesting looking button or something that was, real attention grabbing. So down here, Natalia jumps in and she says, check out this cool button that I made. And she attaches the PNG for it, and then the discussion kind of continues. But then the neat thing about it was that not only did Natalia attach the file, but you'll see in this post right here that she also included a screencast. So she went out to Screener. See if I can find it. So she has this cool screencast that she shared. And, in 4 minutes, she showed exactly how she built what she shared so that other people could, take advantage and maybe do something similar, or maybe even play off of her idea. And then, lo and behold, Linda jumps in here and says, oh, that's really awesome, and check out this other screencast that I saw. And so she puts the link out here to this particular screencast, which is something that Stephanie Harnett shared. And she's another really cool collaborative learner who loves to share neat ideas. So, all of these ideas kind of start swirling in these forum threads, and you just never know what kind of cool tips you're going to end up with, because these users are sharing from all these different places that they've seen some cool things. And anyway, it ended up being a really neat discussion because it kind of brought in a lot of different ideas from a bunch of different folks. It's pretty neat. We see that a lot.
That's Michigan State, right?
What's that?
Your M. We saw your M for a
Oh,
second.
heavens no. That would be University of Michigan.
University of Michigan, sorry.
I'm happy about the basketball win the other day for Michigan State, but let's just clarify, I am a Wolverine.
I have a question for Jeanette.
Okay.
There's a subscription or a pro version of Screener, right? It's
Yes,
called
there
Screener
is.
Business. Yeah, and I know this allows users to embed a screen recorder on their website, or for support for example. Do you guys get a lot of conversions to this business version from, say, like super users who use the free version and they've decided, this is something we want to convert or include in our business?
Yeah, it really is a powerful tool. The regular version of Screener, as we were saying before, is totally free. You can have as many screencasts as you want. It's super simple, super fun to use. And yeah, what we found was that a lot of organizations were interested in using Screener in more of a commercial aspect. So kind of actually like what we do with our support department, where we have private screencasts that we can give users a recorder so that they can record a screencast that only the support engineer will see, and then they can use that as a tool for helping people to solve their problems. It's also a neat way if you've got maybe some marketing screencasts that you want to keep private but embed maybe on a web page or a blog or something like that. There's lots of different ways that you can incorporate the business version of Screener in many different facets of an organization. So yeah, we do see that many users have migrated to the pro version. For the community, the community of users in the eLearning Heroes community, a lot of times the free version is plenty, because it gives them unlimited screencasts. They get hosted on Screener, they get a unique URL, so for a lot of people that's totally fine, and that's how it started out. For I think the first year and a half or 2 years, it was all just totally free. But because there seemed to be this market for a paid, subscription kind of service, and that we made that available as well.
Mm-hmm. I know something that came up last night at the ASCD OC meeting. A lot of the people that were actually present weren't users of Twitter, or they maybe created an account and they've never gone back to it. So that's something that you brought up last evening about building community and Facebook and Twitter and how social media works into it. And so now I think we will be developing some sort of informal training session for them where we can get them up and running with Twitter so they can, follow folks like you and David and Tom and a lot of the other folks out there who contribute in the e-learning community so that they can get the benefit from it, because they all thought it was just about people sharing, what they had for lunch, the usual misconception about, Twitter. So that's something that, came through in the meeting last evening.
Yeah, it's also about having dinner, too. People forget dinner. It's always lunch.
It's always lunch.
It's always lunch. Come on, let's not forget dinner. Or breakfast.
And sometimes you even get to see a picture of our lunch, actually.
I've actually seen those. Those are funny.
Yeah, no, Coline, you bring up a good point that that we do encourage people to share, not just in the forums, but anywhere. A lot of times what we see people doing is using Twitter as a way to maybe broaden the discussion a little bit. Like if they start a forum discussion on a particular topic, and maybe there's some Articulate users that aren't in the forums every single day, so that might get missed. But a lot of people do have, their Twitter client open during the day. So a lot of times what people will do is, post a discussion in the forums and then maybe tweet the link through their Twitter account. And what is common is for people to use the Articulate hashtag, so the # and then the word Articulate, because a lot of people in the Articulate community, keep a close eye on that search term for that hashtag. And so, sometimes we see people that are able to, connect with users that way that they might not otherwise connect with. And Screener, too, speaking of social media, Screener has some awesome built-in ways of leveraging social media if you create a screencast that you want to share. So within Screener, as soon as you post a screencast or save it, you can choose, if you want to tweet that link at the same time. Another thing I think Rick mentioned a little bit ago was if you have a screencast that you create and you want to place that on YouTube, we make that very easy as well. There's just this simple one-click thing where you can upload to YouTube. So there's lots of different arenas that we see people sharing. Once in a while on Facebook, also we have a Facebook page as well, and so sometimes people will post a question there, or sometimes we will post things there if there's a particular discussion in the forums that's kind of lively, and it seems like it would be useful to to the broader community. Then sometimes we'll post that on Facebook, and people might see it there, they might not see it elsewhere. So it's kind of a fun way to just broaden that loop a little bit and bring more learning in.
Are there any questions in the chat room yet, Coline?
No, I haven't. But one of the things that I'm seeing, that people are talking about in the chat room is, they're all happy with the community that Articulate has, fostered. And one of the things that has impressed Dawn Mahoney is that she's not an Articulate user, but she still feels part of the community, and being able to go in there and use the resources, especially in your eLearning Heroes website.
Yeah.
So that's something that's that's really important for the community, is the fact that you don't even need to be an Articulate user to be part of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's really a big draw, I think, for a lot of what we do at eLearning Heroes. In fact, I'm just going to show you real quick. We won't do a full-blown tour here, but this is what our homepage looks like, and you'll see these tabs across the top. And one of the places that a lot of people feel is like the jackpot of all jackpots is this downloads area. It's this rightmost tab here.
I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I think we're still looking at the support forum page.
Oh, maybe it didn't refresh. Let me try again, because I'm seeing it here. It says that it's sharing, but I will give it another try.
You have 1 or 2 monitors.
I have 2.
It might be sharing on the other one. That's still the support community one.
This is, are you seeing eLearning Heroes, the eLearning Heroes page?
This is the same one you showed earlier. I think it's, are they both on the, do you have both up? On different monitors?
Nope. I've got, it might be just stuck on the same thing. I'm changing screens here. I'm on the downloads area. I don't know if you're seeing.
Let me do this.
Maybe you could show it, Rick, if it's not working on my end.
I have the picture of the homepage for eLearning Heroes, so you could probably see it
Okay, yeah,
there.
let's go ahead and put that up. That would be fine.
Okay, so I've got that up right now, and you can see the tabs up front. I can't read them too well. Probably Coline can, but mine are really small. Because again, I'm looking at a miniature view of this as I switch shots.
Okay, well, it's real simple. When you go to our eLearning Heroes site, which if you just Google eLearning Heroes, it'll probably be the first thing that comes up. It's at community.articulate.com. On that page, the 5th tab to the right is called Downloads.
Downloads.
And when you go to that tab, you'll find all sorts of resources that are really very portable in the sense that you don't have to use the Articulate products to take advantage of them. So you'll find PowerPoint templates, you'll find graphics files, icons, fonts, there's buttons, there's project management tools, like if you're into maybe revamping the way you're managing your e-learning projects, you'll find storyboard templates, job aid type of things, project agreements. There's tons of resources out there that are useful to really anybody that's in in the e-learning space. And we put those things out there because we find them valuable too, and we want to make sure that other people have the opportunity to take advantage of them. So that's something to explore for sure, because there's a lot of cool stuff out there that that you can take advantage of. Even if you're just creating PowerPoint presentations, sometimes just getting a hold of the right graphic can really make a big difference in the way your project looks. And so definitely have at it. There's a ton of stuff out there. And this is also, by the way, the place that Tom keeps uploading the templates that he shares from the Rapid eLearning blog. So it's all kind of coming together in that one single downloads area. So there's definitely a lot of stuff to dig into there.
Yeah, and keep in mind that if you do download things from there, you can modify it. So, for example, download templates, download things, and then modify to your particular need. A lot of people think it's a template, I can't change it. I've gotten comments on things like that from this forum and other ones where people go, it's not what I need. Well, change it. People limit themselves just a bit too much sometimes, or they think that I can't modify this. Once you download it, it's yours. Have fun with it. Share it back. If you can, share it back. It's always a shame because I know in our case, we're not allowed to show a lot of the things we do for people because of NDAs and everything else. So, what we put on our website usually is some of the okay stuff, but we can't show some of the best stuff we've done. We can't. And that's so common, but you can always share stuff like this or share pieces of what you've done, and I think everybody's going to benefit from techniques, tips, tricks, and anything else. And that's a good thing. Makes the community grow. And I think this is what you guys have done very well. It's not just an Articulate community, it's a community at large too. And that's what's unique, and that's what I really enjoy about it, that even though it is focused on Articulate, it covers a lot of different other things. Now, speaking of Articulate, you guys are, I imagine, getting close to Storyline. Everybody's seeing it at the shows. There's buzz. How's that going?
Well, we're really super excited about it. There's a lot of buzz internally, too. We are so excited and really eager to launch this product. And as you know, we're in beta right now and getting pretty close to the end of that beta period. So definitely keep your ear to the ground because we will be launching shortly. We've just got a few things that we want to tie up, and we're eager to put it in people's hands. It's a very, very powerful tool.
That's great. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Good to have
definitely. It's a neat tool because it kind of it kind of takes the best of both worlds for people that are needing a way to create maybe richer interactivity than they're currently able to do. And it's really a product that you can jump into and be immediately productive. It's not, it's very intuitive to use, but it can kind of grow with you. It's got lots of really new, exciting features that allow you to bake in some pretty rich learning experiences. So we're super excited about it.
That's great. Now, do you know if, I'm sure Microsoft is still working on the next version of Office and PowerPoint. Have you guys seen that yet, or anything? I know they usually have public betas. I haven't gotten into the Microsoft one, but anything new that you know about in PowerPoint coming up?
That would really not be a question for me. We're really focused on, keeping people productive with the tools that they have now. But yeah, definitely our developers are constantly keeping a pulse on what's new and coming down the pike, because we want to make sure that the solutions that we provide are really going to go hand in glove with the tools that they depend on, right? And Presenter, as a lot of you know, works hand in glove with PowerPoint. So it's really important to us to be aware of what's coming, for sure.
That's great. Now we're about to wrap up. Coline, any questions in the chat room? Anybody? This is your chance, guys, in the chat room. We only have Jeanette about another 4 or 5 minutes, so.
Oh, but they know where to find me if they don't get their question in here.
Jeff, who's not an Articulate user, he would like to know if there's a Mac version or is it only for PC?
Hey, Jeff, that's a really good question, and it is one that we hear pretty frequently, and more so as the Mac space is growing. Currently, though, the tools are designed for Windows, but we do have many users, and many people actually internally as well, who are running the software in virtual environments such as Parallels, and that's that's kind of the direction that most people go right now. Not to say it's always going to necessarily be that way, but if a Mac version is something that you would see as valuable, we do love to get feature requests and suggestions, and I would invite you to definitely submit that as a feature request or a suggestion.
And it's interesting because the Mac is still not that prevalent in a business environment. It's still more personal. They're growing in numbers, but that's really more at the home base versus the office base. So
it's definitely an interesting landscape, but changing all the time.
Yep.
So we want to pay attention to that.
Yeah. Any other questions out there, Coline?
Yeah, one more thing. I've heard, people talking, they're all excited about Storyline. One of the concerns that I've heard is that Storyline is going to replace Articulate Studio. Now, I know from the talk you had last evening, that's not going to happen, but would you like to chat a little bit about that real quick before we leave?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'm glad that you brought it up, because we don't want people to think that Studio is going away, or that if you are using Articulate Studio and you're happy with that you're going to have to find a new solution. Definitely not the case. We know that we've got thousands and thousands of people who are using Studio now, and they want to stick with that, and that is totally good. In fact, concurrently with the development of Storyline, we've also been working on new enhancements to Articulate Studio, and some of the cool things that we're baking into Storyline you'll also see carrying over into some of the features in the new Studio that we released. So definitely it's not going away or replacing that tool. It is something that we recognize as a really valuable tool, Studio is, for many people, and we want to definitely continue to support that and make that a long-term solution for people.
And they're different tools. I think it's a slightly different market, even, if you will. I guess you could use it in the same market, but they're also different.
Yeah, they are very different in the sense that Storyline is kind of your one-stop shop. It's all the tools that you would need really wrapped into one, where Studio allows you to choose, if you want to, Presenter or Quizmaker or Engage, or a combination of the three. So that's one difference. But the Storyline just kind of takes the interactivity and flexibility and customizability features to the next level. So if you're a user that maybe is currently running up against some limitations, just because of the nature of PowerPoint to Flash conversion, Storyline might be worth a look. It's definitely, the feature set is very, very robust, and like I said, it's definitely something that can grow with you. So it's not like a super complex tool that you can't be productive with immediately. It's really easy enough to begin using now, but if you're headed in the direction of greater interactivity, it's definitely worth a look. It's an amazing product.
That's great. Now, you're going to be at trade shows coming up soon. Want to let people know how they can meet you or see you?
Yeah. My comrades, Tom and David, are going to be at Learning Solutions, which is coming up next week. So definitely stop by and see us there. We're also going to be at various other conferences throughout the rest of this year. Sometimes we do jam sessions. You can always take a look at our calendar, which is on our website. There's a link for the calendar near the top, and you can also get that same information from our Facebook page. There's an events item on our Facebook page, and that always has the most current appearances. So yeah, we love it when people want to stop by conferences and say hey, and check out what we're doing. It's really fun to be able to meet with people face to face that we've interacted with so much through the community. So definitely, if you're at any of these upcoming events, we'd love to see you.
That sounds great. All right. Well, Jeanette, a pleasure having you on. We're glad you came on finally. And now we're going to get Tom on. He said he'd be on once Storyline debut, so we're looking forward to that one. I think a lot of the users are going to be looking forward to that one. That'll be great. Mm-hmm. And Coline, any closing comments?
I think that's it. I think we're all excited. I know the ASCD folks. By the way,
that's Orange County for those of you who are nowhere near.
Sorry, Orange County.
That's Orange County, California.
Yes, and you'll probably get a landslide of followers on Twitter once that happens.
and say landslide carefully in California. We're an earthquake country. Anyway, Jeanette.
A barrage of followers.
A barrage, yes. Anyway, a pleasure having you on today, Jeanette. Good luck with Storyline when it comes out. And I know we're all going to see you online with Screener and at the shows. So thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk with you guys. Really appreciate it.
And
thank you.
We will see everyone next week on eLearnChat. Hey, everyone, have a good one. We'll see you soon.